What's up, everybody? Coach Ben, podcast number 30-something, here with Jim from Jiu-Jitsu Magazine. Another week, Jim.
Man, we're trudging along here, And, we've talked about in the past some of the things that people may be doing. We talked to Dan Lucart a while ago, what he's prepared to do. And we're at this point right now where we're starting to see the opening of some Jiu-Jitsu Academies in the nation. And I want to know, what's your outlook on this? How and will Jiu-Jitsu Academies survive this pandemic?
All right, so, we've already talked, me and you, Jim, and Dan, and we probably talked about this a bunch of times already on previous episodes on, the outlook and stuff, but now I guess we're into the next phase of this thing, right? So now, finally, some academies are now reopening, right? Like certain academies, I think, are going like straight to full steam, sparring and everything, and they're pretty much doing it, at least in the United States, on the down low or against the guidelines of like the CDC or the
state governors,
state,
or something.
national, federal government. So there's it's not a secret. I know there's an academy in Redding, California that just went back, and good for them. They are doing what they want to do, and I think my general outlook on, I guess, what to do. Do you follow the guidelines? Do you open the business? I've always been pretty practical about it, so I've never been like idealist about this kind of thing. It's always been like, what is going to work practically, and I've always been in the middle of the economy versus saving the at-risk people, and the trying to have a balanced
it's
approach.
delicate. It's a pretty delicate balance.
Because I'm a business owner, right? So most business owners have the approach of, we need to open now. I talk to a lot of my business owner friends, and a lot of them maybe started the pandemic, in fear and being like, oh, we can't, we're scared. And then now it's like, we need to open, or else like there's going to be irreparable damage, or there's already irreparable damage. We just need to survive now. Now we're facing closure. So anyway, just to recap the outlook that we talked about, long term, I think we'll be fine. Jiu-Jitsu academies, businesses will be fine. Vaccine, other treatments, and people will forget. Humans have short-term memory, right? But this is a different thing. I feel like it's going to take a little longer, because the previous pandemics, disasters, these terrible things have happened, right? I never saw it affect small businesses or businesses in general in this magnitude, right? Like, when's the last time sports were canceled?
Never,
yeah. Right? What like, other than strikes and
9/11, I think, for one weekend,
like one weekend, one week, 2 weeks, maybe. I don't remember too much. I was probably like 15 years old or something. But but I remember when 9/11 happened, it was a big deal. But I think I was too young to kind of understand. I didn't understand like the global consequence. Back then the internet wasn't prevalent too. So the long-term outlook, I have hope, I have optimism, but again, we've never done anything like this. Like, we've never had a pandemic that was so widespread. Like, this is going to be a global depression. This is global depression is coming soon. But hopefully, there was some treasure chests in the treasury. The money for these things was prepared, and long-term, I don't know. I'm thinking long-term things would be good. What do you think, Jim?
Yeah, I do think so, and and this is kind of taking into consideration no revisit of an outbreak.
Yeah,
so
that's the other scary thing. Is like 9/11. These things, people, we're scared it could happen again. But you could like take precautions to the security in the airports and stuff, like, never went back. We have to, TSA never went back. You have to now spend, much more time than when you're, I remember as a kid, we just like walked around the plane sometimes, like didn't check nothing. So this is something where, again, I'm hoping for the best, but we don't know.
Right.
I'm hoping just the memory, people's memory, and And
Well, I think, and I just mentioned a little earlier this morning with one of my jiu-jitsu buddies, is this may be the one time, because he has an academy in Texas. Right. And then he has begun to take steps to open up. So I checked in with him this morning. I said, how's it going?
Yeah.
He says it's a challenge. It's really a challenge. And he says
even in Texas. Imagine California.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I mean, Texas has.
It's
a little similar now.
Regardless, I think the key thing they took from is that he still said that a lot of people are still afraid. That's going to be the reality. On the other side of this, it's not like a switch and then, all right, we get all our guys back minus 1 or 2. No. I think you're going to get 1 or 2 or 3 back, and then a majority, maybe a little touchy-feely and afraid.
Right.
And I mentioned to him, it's times like this, it's a unique opportunity it's a unique notion that this might be the time where our short attention span and our short memories actually may pay a dividend for getting this thing back on track, pending no further outbreak.
Yeah, I don't know what, maybe some listeners would relate to this, but I don't know why when I'm in the academy, when I'm ready to train, my gi's on or my equipment, no gi gear's on, I have no fears of, touching people or sweat and all that stuff. It's never really crossed my mind. It's like you're training. You're here to train. It's your mindset changes. But when I'm not in the academy or when I'm not in a gym setting and I'm out in the public with my street clothes on, which is pretty much just an extension. I usually just wear gym clothes everywhere. But like I don't have a rash guard on, for example, or fight shorts. I don't want people touching me, man. I'm already I'm pretty iffy about being
Personal
close to
space.
people outside of jiu-jitsu. I don't know why. I just have that thing. And so like right now, I am training a little bit. I have a small group of guys, like 2 or 3 guys. They're MMA guys, and I don't know about them, but I get tested every week. So it's just us, in secret spot.
So you have your pod, your pod of people that if you are going to have normal contact, it's that same people.
If any of us show any symptoms, immediately we got all quarantined. But, just some of these guys got fights. We got trained. It's.
Hey, did you just break the first rule of Fight Club just now? You're talking about it.
It's not a Fight Club, Jim. You're invited. Anybody's invited. You can come if you want, but you must understand your own risk,
right?
Because. I mean, you're self-reliant. If you are at risk or you're with at-risk people, stay at home. You're not being forced to come out. And I know people are saying, you got to think about others. You might inadvertently. We got to move on. It's time to move on. It's time to let people be self-reliant. And if you have any other thoughts other than we got to come up with a solution here, a balance, then you're idealist. You don't live in the real world. You live in your own fantasy world, which, I don't really like idealists because they're kind of, they make a lot of noise, but they don't do anything. So it's a problem when there are big decisions that are going to affect a lot of other people. Being idealist, you may think you're saving a lot of people, but what's happening is you could, off the back end, be creating more and more damage. And also, you don't have the personal experience of somebody who is in business, right? So if you don't own your own business and you are snitching on business owners, but you don't own a business, I would say it's muddy because you don't know that person's situation. You have no idea. They might be trying to feed their kids. Who knows, right? I think
it's a bad practice.
It's very bad to
the whole snitching on businesses. I think it's dark territory.
Yeah, I mean, what is it that you are trying to get? Like, do you really think that you're helping by doing that? And maybe you think you are, right? But you're hurting somebody by doing that, right? You're hurting the business owner. You're hurting, you're taking time away from police officers that have to go down there. They may have been able to stop a crime. It's one of these things that I don't understand.
And you're putting an additional financial hardship on someone, whereas it's already bad because now they're going to get cited, they're going to get fined, and it's just an unfortunate situation, and I think it's rooted out of fear. And then you get back to, is that how we want to live?
I don't think it's rooted out of fear, Jim. I think I know what you're saying, but I think it's rooted out of a significance, a lack of significance in your own endeavors. You have nothing that is worth your attention at the time, right? You don't have any goals or any systems that are keeping you on track to get to your goals. So you see other people trying to get to their goals, like a business, and you want to get in the way, right? Mm-hmm. Let's just put me in the worst scenario ever of somebody who has to make that decision, right? Say I'm a person who is, maybe my grandma lives with me, right? She doesn't, by the way. She lives in China. But let's say my grandma lives with me, and she's 80. I think she's 88 right now. She's 88. She lives with me. I see the business next door to me opening, right? Grandma, you're not leaving the house. I'm not even coming to that. I'm going to do everything for you. I'm going to do everything I can to isolate her. Maybe we just move out of here. Hey, this is people around here practicing things that are not safe. Nowhere in my head does it cross my mind that, hey, I'm going to stop this business from operating because I want to uphold some kind of moral standard that I think that everybody should live by. I don't understand that. I just don't understand that. I don't. Maybe I will in the future, but I doubt it, because usually when you get older, you tend to take more and more and more accountability, and I think the people who are doing that, it's the opposite of accountability, man. It's just a troublemaker. They make the term Karen for these types of things. It's kind of like, that's
the buzzword right now. Yeah.
So anyway, so that was, for businesses, they're reopening. I know there's several academies next to me that are opening, defying the kind of the stay-at-home order here in California. Good for them. I'm not going to open personally until August 1st. That's just a decision I made. And if we can open our doors, the membership will be free, and you just bring your friends, and we'll sort it all out August 1st. I've come up with the funds to survive that long, and I've made that decision, and I'm going to stick to that. All right, anybody that chooses to open, great. I think they're good. We need the people that charge through, and see what's on the other side. What is it called? The canary in the coal mine, right? So that's...
Yeah, so Georgia, Texas, we're watching you.
Yeah, I'm watching.
Right.
That academy, in NorCal, I'm watching. I'm seeing how they're doing things. Seems like everything's back to normal there. I don't think I would take that drastic, leap.
Right.
But, I also don't have any interest in running an academy based off of solo drills and dummy training. I just don't. I don't... You need sparring. What makes jiu-jitsu special is the live portion of it.
The randori, as they say.
Yeah, and even if you don't spar, if you don't have contact, how are you going to get the feel to move? And dummies, it's more for kids and just true beginners, and if it's better than nothing. But I can tell you right now that Marcelo Garcia probably never did too much extensive solo drills or dummy training, and there's nothing wrong with those things. It's just that those are supplements to the real thing.
Yeah, those are there you go. They're supplements. They're not the actual whole meal.
Yeah,
the whole food meal.
Yeah. So that's the long term, right? Long term, I think things will be fine. Businesses. The short term, we already kind of talked about it. The businesses are opening. This is the main topic I wanted to talk about today, Jim, and it's going to be a long one, and I hope it doesn't come off as a rant or anything. But I wanted to cover this because the short-term outlook of Jiu-Jitsu Academies is very important to me because of several reasons, right? I'll just go over what the short-term outlook is, right? I think first and foremost, you need to survive, right? So if you're a Jiu-Jitsu Academy owner, you need to survive, right? You need to be loyal to your members. They will remember, right? And the reason I say be loyal to your members is because I'm going to get into a kind of like a personal thing here, but I made a Facebook post not long ago. I think it was It was like two or 3 days ago, and it got quite a lot of attention, and also I got a lot of messages from people, and I'm not gonna read the whole thing, but I'll just tell you the gist of it and why I wrote it, and why I think it's important for people that train to keep this in mind, right? So there are many Jiu-Jitsu Academies in this area that I know of, and probably everywhere because I see it online too, that they're encouraging their members, and we've talked about this, but this is one step further. They're encouraging their members to continue paying membership dues during this kind of quarantine, right? And I think that's fine, right? But you must provide the value of that membership, right? Or you can't charge that much, or you can't charge at all if you're not doing anything. However, I know of several academies around me that they're not my competitors. They're far enough away that I don't have to run into them, but they're basically telling their members in more or less words, email, text, that hey, make sure that you keep paying, or else you're not going to have a gym to come back to. Right? That's I think the bare minimum of, I would say, cringy behavior, but it's still cringy. It's still bad. I would say if a student says that about their gym, fine. But if an owner says it, I don't like it. But now, the past couple weeks, so it's gotten beyond that, right? So now I have people messaging me that tell me, and they show me the emails, the texts. It's quite a lot. It's shocking about how their academy has this policy where if you cancel your membership, you will not be welcome back.
Yeah. I do not understand that, especially from a business point of view.
Let me say that one more time, dude, because I have to say this again.
Yeah, let that marinate.
So it can sink in.
Yeah.
If you cancel your membership during this pandemic, you will not be welcome back to your gym because you did not support the gym during a time when everybody is going through the same thing.
Oh, my God. Or not. Some people, they're on the short end of a real bad situation.
So let me make it clear. In my post, I said, if you have a gym and that is their policy, leave immediately. Do not even give them a reason. Just say, hey, I'm quitting. See you later, and never go back. And I this part I will read for the most part, but I don't have any sympathy for business owners who cannot be responsible for their own business. If you own a business, who is responsible for your business?
The business owner.
You. Yeah, that's it. You. It's not the responsibility of your clients, customers, students to take on this burden unless it's their choice. Right? I have people beating down my door wanting to pay membership. No, you can't right now, at least for me, because I don't want somebody to, pay and then other people don't pay, and then when the gym starts, it's like this guy paid. I don't even want to have that like in my head.
That dynamic,
yeah,
right?
I don't want that dynamic. It wouldn't affect how I treat people, but you never know. So I just don't have it, right? It's like you don't want to eat the bad food, don't keep it in your house, right? You don't want to eat junk food, don't keep it in your house. You don't want problems, don't set up a situation where problems can occur. Okay, so again, it's their choice to support the academy. So if my business goes down because of these things that are outside my control, so be it. I tried, I failed. I wasn't a good enough businessman in that situation. I didn't adapt, and I wasn't prepared to deal with variance, which happens in all business. It's a gamble, right? You're an entrepreneur. You're taking a gamble, and the risk sometimes it overwhelms you, right? So, as a business owner, you should take on the most accountability, right? Your students should not carry the burden of any of that responsibility of finances of the business, unless you are providing them a service, right? So anyway, point is, I released this Facebook post because a lot of people that I know, not my students, but people that I know, send me messages and they show me the emails and the texts that the gym owners are sending them saying, hey, even there was one that I showed you that was super nice.
Ooh.
It was like, hey, no hard feelings. It's all good. Hope you take care of everything.
They started out great. Hope you're well.
Hope you're well. But guess what? Just so you know,
P.S.
you can't re-sign up ever again. You're banned, basically. What? Why? Do you know how unprofessional that is? That is so
From a business
unprofessional.
standpoint, it makes zero sense.
What's crazy is that this is prevalent. It's not like a one thing. I posted this Facebook status, right? I had 2 people send me emails or texts about this, and I was like, man, I gotta address this. And then after I posted it, I got another like 6 to 8 more examples of this happening, and this got me thinking, right? It's got me thinking like,
Well, real
what's
quick,
going on?
What'd you send me? Have you posted that on your Instagram with your commentary? Have
No.
you posted that picture?
No.
I mean, with the names redacted, would you be willing to do that?
I would rather make it on my own as an example, as opposed to give the actual screen image, because
Gotcha.
it might
Gotcha.
expose the person,
who's who.
the student, and who's the. I know which academy some of these are, but
Sure.
I'm not going to say it. And that's not the point, right? The point isn't to out one business or one individual. The point is to make sure that toxic behavior doesn't go unchecked by bad business owners during this time, right? So practically, what can you do, right? Well, if you're at an academy that is guilting or shaming you into paying membership during this time, it's safe to say, run. Yeah, exactly. Leave immediately. There's no reason for them to do that. And this is also an opportunity, I think, for academies who run things the right way. So, again, our topic was, will Jiu-Jitsu Academies survive? My hope is that only the good academies, and good as in preferable, there's no good and bad, but like preferable to ethical standards of business, those academies survive, right? So, again, this is just one of my sayings, I guess, but when it's a quote, when somebody or someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. I added the first time. The quote was just believe them. I added the first time because I've this happened to me so many times. When I see somebody do something that is unethical, right, and then I just brush under the rug, and then the next time it's worse, and then it gets worse, and then it's uncontrollable, right? So if you see the academy owner or whatever management doing something like this, like forcing you to pay the membership, otherwise you're banned or you're ousted from the cult, believe who they are. Believe that they only care about money. They only care about your loyalty if it comes with them getting paid, right? And they really are bad business people, because there's all kinds of help during this pandemic on top of, you can't really get evicted. There's government loans. Why are you burdening your own students who have their own problems in their own lives, more than likely, who need to help their own families and their own situations? You think that your business is somehow special because you touch each other in pajamas? It doesn't make any sense. It's nothing. There's nothing special about jiu-jitsu as a business.
Well, I think you mentioned in the past, one of the previous podcasts, where you stated, name any other business that would speak like this.
Oh man,
that would address their customers. Yeah. Customers. See, in jiu-jitsu,
if you don't go to your bakery during the pandemic, when the pandemic's over, can't go to the bakery no more.
Yeah, and there's this weird thing, this reclassification of people that are giving you money in our community. Yeah. We call them students, right? Yeah. But we don't call them customers.
They
for
are
better
customers.
or for worse, but they are customers. And usually the old adage, the customer's always right.
Yeah.
For better
I tend
or
to
for
call them clients.
Clients.
But clients I hold even in higher regard than a customer.
Right, because
Student
there's a
word.
still implication.
There's an exchange of services and of currency. You can't call them like whatever you want. It's like, this is my member. It's they are a customer at the end of the day.
At the end of the day,
because
because this is a business, and that's what we're focusing on, is the business aspect of this community, right?
Right. So why did I say that quote, right? When somebody shows you who they are, believe them the first time. It's just, I've been through a lot of these things. There's 2 times to kind of look for these patterns of, not patterns, but just these behaviors that arise, and I know, Jim, that you and me like to stick on the positive threads a lot, but I think this is actually going to be a net positive, which I think is more important than, just being overly positive about things that aren't, there's nothing positive about it. This is bad stuff, bad people doing bad stuff. So 2 times when somebody shows you, usually when somebody shows you who they are. One is when things are going really good. So when things are going really good, usually the people who I consider to be, people that I don't like to work with, when things are going good, they tend to take more credit and dish out less credit. So let's say me and you are in a business relationship, Jim, and we're doing real good. We're getting picked up by Spotify for millions, right? Mm-hmm. This is where, if I'm a good partner to you, I would say, hey, Jim, this guy is responsible. He's the producer. He's as important as me, if not more important. I'm giving you more credit, right? Yeah. The behavior to look out for in those times is, if I was to say, Jim, I feel like, how we're 50-50 partners, but my name's on the thing, right? So I deserve like 80%. So how about I take 80 and you take 20? Because it's just only fair, right? Because I deserve that. And that's a toxic behavior, right? Things are going good. Now I want more credit. People tend to develop overconfidence, right? You see this in academies all the time. An academy does well. Next thing you know, the coaches underneath the main guy, they want to start their own academy. They think, oh, well, this business is doing good. I'm going to start my own business and do just as good. Take half the student. That's overconfidence, right? And sure enough, most of those academies fall by the wayside. It's because they didn't understand that the business is much more than just, teaching a class here and there. People tend to get entitled, right? They want more when things are going real good, right? Those are all behaviors to look out for. Now, that's not where things are right now, right? Things are not going good for most academies. The second thing to look out for, where people show you their true colors, is when things are going poorly, right? This is the obvious one. Everybody knows this. When things are going poorly in businesses, in Jiu-Jitsu academies, you'll notice this. The unethical people, the people that you should not really aim to support, they will look for shortcuts. What's a shortcut? Asking your members to pay for a service that you're not providing and guilting them into paying it. That is a shortcut. You don't want to take responsibility for your own business. That is a shortcut. Money hungry. If your academy says stuff like, hey, if you cancel, you're not allowed back. It might sound like they're turning away business, but what they're really doing is they're trying to instill fear in the members that are still paying, and making it known to them that, hey, if you want to join this guy in the outcasted group and be a Ronin, then stop paying. But if you want to be a part of my cult, my clique, this awesome team, then you will keep paying. And that's wrong. That's the definition of a cult, basically, is taking advantage of people, putting yourself in a superior position for no apparent reason. And then also, when things are going poorly, unethical behavior is readily apparent. When people are struggling, you can't hide stuff when you're struggling. I just like these messages, right? Like, how more readily apparent is it that this individual, that many individuals that are sending these messages to their students, are not fit to run a business, right? They're not fit to run a business. They're not fit to lead people, period, right? If they're not fit to lead people, they shouldn't run a business, and they shouldn't be a jiu-jitsu instructor, to be honest. They haven't figured it out themselves. I don't get that behavior, and that's why it it just kind of rubs me the wrong way, and I want to make sure that we make a net positive effect by I don't want to say exposing, but just like illuminating that is happening in the jiu-jitsu community, and I'm not gonna let people get away with it without saying my 2 cents. The last thing I'll say about that is, I think it stems from ego. The owners of small businesses, especially martial arts academies, saying that. And you tell me if I'm wrong, and can you just let me know, Jim? If you don't agree with this, just let me know. But my opinion is that you should be honored that people would not only pay money to train with you, but they would spend time to learn from you. I think time is more valuable than money. It's the unrenewable resource. So people that are going to spend time, forget about money, people are going to spend time to learn from you. That's a huge deal. It's an honor to do that. And for you to, I stopped having contracts at my gym. I just had a realization that they're not, it's loyalty is supposed to be a two-way street. If my students are loyal to me, they don't need a contract. They sign up every month because every month I'm proving that it's worth it to be here. That's what I want to do. So no contracts. And also to go on with this, information is everywhere, right? Mm-hmm. They chose to learn from you. That's a privilege. It's not, and you guilting people into paying you. Your product must suck. It has to suck. It has to suck if you feel that way. You think what you know about jiu-jitsu, you're teaching something special? You're not. Okay, you're probably not, unless you're John Danaher, or Marcelo Garcia, or the Mendes brothers, and yeah, and they're not hurting. They're not doing this kind. I don't see it from them. It's just so unprofessional to me that kind of behavior should be a crime in business. Like if you are the person who guilts your students into paying and refuses to train them because they didn't pay during a time of a global pandemic, you should be banned from starting corporations. You should be banned from creating business entities.
Well,
it should.
I will speak up there. You shouldn't be banned. It's almost like let the.
This is just my own thoughts.
I get it, but let the people speak, right? It's like once, kind of what to your earlier point. Once someone tells you who they are,
it's skating the line between scam. It's like if you head to the coffee shop, right, and it's like your favorite coffee shop, and you've been going there for like 2 years. And all of a sudden, you go in there and you buy a coffee, and they're like, "Hey Ben, because we're in a pandemic, I'm gonna need you to buy 3 coffees every time you come in here." And then you say, "No, I just want 1." Okay, you want to buy 1? Okay, you're not welcome here anymore.
Last one.
Yeah, this is the last one.
Yeah.
What the? What?
Yeah.
What are you talking about? You should. I would say that's some kind of discrimination. You should have to forfeit your business license.
Well, but here's the thing. So I think what I would hope the moral of the story is those business practices, once exposed, they're unsustainable,
right?
And they will go by the wayside.
I think that the general outlook for academies is that because we were in such a good time before this pandemic, things were prospering, jiu-jitsu was blowing up, everybody was open to Jiu-Jitsu Academy. People developed a lot of overconfidence as entrepreneurs. Everybody thought, this is not going to fail. And now this pandemic has kind of exposed that, you actually need to run a business. So things like this do happen. This is not even, that bad for Jiu-Jitsu Academies as opposed, well, we'll see what the future looks like. But if you have a restaurant, I think it's actually worse for restaurants. I think more restaurants have closed than anything.
I mean, that was a tough hustle in the first place.
Yeah.
I mean, trying to own and operate a restaurant, only because look how many options you have. Look what you're in competition with.
Yeah, I think it's like 30% of small businesses survive after 5 years anyway. Don't quote me on that.
Something like that.
But if you think about that, your chances aren't good, right? So during time when things were going really well, entrepreneurs developed this huge overconfidence. And so, again, going to the positives, what will happen is what I'm hoping is going to happen is that people will wake up and realize, hey, I not only want to train in a place that has the highest level of instruction and, just it's just a good place to train, but I want to go to a place where the culture is good, the academy owner has good values, and I truly believe that if you're a black belt and you give somebody a black belt, you're not just giving them a black belt for their skill on the mat. You're kind of like their almost like their guide, right? Like if you use jiu-jitsu as a way to solve problems, you're a guide, right? So as a black belt, you're not just promoting somebody because they know how to do an arm bar. You're promoting them because they have good character, they have good knowledge, they're a good coach, they put time invested, they're a good person. These are all important things. I think it was Dean Lister that said, I don't promote assholes to brown belt, right? Believe it or not, that is one hell of a true statement, because once you promote an asshole to brown belt, kaboom boom.
Yeah, strap in.
Yeah. All right, Jim. So just to recap, just wanted to get that message out there. I feel that after this podcast, our 200 listeners will now, I'm going to get another couple messages from people saying, hey, I'm really glad you mentioned that because it's happening, and I also want to say, nobody has reached out to me, but I'm blowing a lot of people up right now, right? If you own an academy or if you go to an academy that does that practice and you want to defend that, hit me up. I'm willing to discuss this because I don't know how you would justify that behavior, because if it was proper behavior, then it would be public, right? You wouldn't be sending text messages and emails to students secretly. It would just be out in the open, right? Nobody talks about this, right? So, if there's a way to defend this behavior, please let me know. I think going forward, I really hope that only the smart, ethical, intelligent business people will be able to run academies going forward, and that this illuminates people's behaviors and helps us read people. It's beyond jiu-jitsu. Maybe your instructor is not only somebody you look up to, but somebody you want to model your behaviors after, your values after, which I think is important. And if your values don't include, being unethical, then you should leave the academy as being unethical. Right there is a conflict in values, got a few messages over the weekend. Wanted to make sure this was out. Is there anything else, Jim, you wanted to discuss on this?
No, I think one thing to take out of this is use as a litmus test. Whenever in doubt on your Jiu-Jitsu Academy, just picture another sector of business doing that practice. The whole, if you don't pay, we won't be here, and you should pay. I like the coffee shop analogy. I think that's just a good tool. When in doubt, imagine another business doing the practice that you have doubts about.
Yeah. I want to say one last thing. There was an academy that I had a loose affiliation with, I would say. I don't anymore. But I left that academy because the owner was being unethical with the way they were doing things in many ways. But one of the ways that this was the last straw was this academy lost its location and decided to continue charging the members for, I think, like 1 or 2 Zoom classes a week, training with a freaking pillow and a blanket or something, with a belt. But the problem I had there was this business owner was not transparent about the location, right? So this is also prevalent. I had a loose affiliation with this gym, but I know many gyms who have lost their lease during this time because they couldn't pay the rent, or they just refused to pay the rent, or they, whatever, they moved, and they have not secured their location. Yet they are charging members and telling them that there is going to be a new location. There is no new location. Okay, I know. How do I know? I just do. So these situations happen, and I think it's really important. Keep your eyes open. Look for this. Nobody's perfect, but there are certain things that if you don't address these small things, if these small things you don't jive with, you're not going to jive with the big things. So it's better to cut loose and roll out of there than stay and wait for the big blow up in the future. Trust me on that.
Well, there it is. If you want to celebrate everything that Coach Ben just talked about, or if you want to give him crap about it, hit him up on his Instagram at Coach BZ. That's as in Bravo Zulu. Coach BZ on Instagram. And you can follow us, Jiu-Jitsu Mag, at Jiu-Jitsu Mag.
Yep, at Jiu-Jitsu Mag. Also, next we're going to probably talk a little bit more about will competition survive. So check that out for the next episode.
Yes. So tune in for that one. And then also, I want to talk to you about some other things. That this has been a great opportunity for people to rest their weary joints in their bodies.
Yeah.
And maybe we can go over some myths and fallacies and tried and true about rest and recovery and training.
To be honest, the rest itself is probably the most important.
All right, let's talk about it.
All right, yeah.
All right, guys. Thanks for everything. Coach, thank you.
Thank you.